warriors chasing gold. This game's ours, it's ours to hold. One shot left, one play to run. Make it count under the setting sun. It's game time grind. All or nothing on the line. Push through the pain. Leave it all in the rain. It's game time grind. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find. It's game time grind. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a brand new episode here on the 4th and 10U network. It is game time grind. And Mystic, guess what? Guess what?
What we got?
I didn't tell you, but we are not only live, we are live across many platforms and channels.
Ooh.
Right. We're not just live here on 4th and 10U. We are live on TFTG right now. We're also live on X, on my channel, El Capitan's handle there. So you're all over the place right now.
I love it.
Shout out to you. If you guys are watching at home, make sure you hit the like button, right? Subscribe if you're brand new. Turn on the notification bell. We got a lot of shows on TFTG. Subscribe to them. Subscribe to 4th and 10U. Come follow me on Twitter. Follow Mystic on Twitter. You should put your handle on underneath your avatar or there, so everyone can follow you. But yeah, and follow Mystic in the Spaces, man. On Twitter Spaces, Mystic has been on fire lately. So not sure about what happened today, but there was they were talking some smack in those Twitter Spaces, I noticed.
I mean, there's that famous term. A hater's gonna hate. More money, more problems. That's how I look at it. It is what it is. We're doing our thing. People aren't. Some are gonna like it, some are gonna hate it. We're still gonna do it.
This is 100% true. You know what's interesting, right? So it sounds like you had a rival space today that was going against the grain, against the narrative that you bring.
Oh yeah,
it is Rivalry Week, so I think hand in hand, it's a great time to do it. Let's talk about it, right?
I like it.
Yeah, so it is Rivalry Week, and it's probably, in my opinion, the best time in college football. You're going to have the pretenders. You're going to have the contenders. Someone's going to end up crying. Someone's going to end up blaming the other people. He said this, or that's not fair. You got it going on in college football playoff committee right now. There's a big hoopla why they're holding certain teams back and why others are being ranked higher than others. It is the best time in college football because everybody is going to be screaming louder, pounding the table harder. It is a heck of a time, don't you say?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the best part about Rivalry Week is it matters. Like, these games matter, and it's not only like a team that you just despise, can't, don't even want to look at them. But it also comes with that much more. You need these games. We have Ohio State. You guys win this, you're pretty much locking in where you guys are at, getting that, first round bye. Everything's, schmoozy, great. Michigan for that big statement victory to help punch their ticket. Like, I love that kind of stuff, man. And look at Alabama. Alabama absolutely needs that win against Auburn. Excuse me.
Definitely. I think Alabama does need that win. They need to staple that win. I think losing to Oklahoma, I think really hurt Alabama in a way. They can't, they can't screw around. I think they need to take care of business. We'll get into more of that. There's some other teams that I think that need to take care of business this week. We'll get into it. But before you do so, make sure you hit the like button, right? Subscribe if you're new. As I said, we're trying to grow the channel. We talk college football. And before the trolls go off in the chat, this is not an Ohio State podcast. No, it's not. Yes, I'm a huge fan of Ohio State, but it is not an Ohio State podcast. This is just a college football podcast. That is what it's about. We want to talk all college football. If there's a team you want us to talk more about, put it in the chat. Put it in the comments below. Me and Mystic will take a look at it and we'll see what we can come up with and talk about your team. All right. But yeah, let's get started. The coaching carousel continues, Mystic. It has been kind of crazy the last couple hours. Some news has come out. Several coaches have been offered jobs or leaving for others. Big news out of South Florida. University of South Florida head coach is leaving for Arkansas. That news supposedly has been broken. And I think it's really interesting, with Arkansas. I think that they are a program that is trying to find foundation and stability. And I also think they have a piece over there. It'll be really interesting. I don't know if he can. I have to check on how much eligibility he has left, if any. Taylen Green is their quarterback over there. Does he skip and go to the NFL, or does he stick it one more year with the new head coach? I don't know. I don't even know if it's possible. I have to see what his eligibility looks like.
I think that comes down to, it'd be a first-round pick. If he has a chance to be a first-round pick, you absolutely come out.
Mm-hmm.
If you fall short of that, and you personally think that the system coming in is going to give you more than what you just got to get you to where you are, maybe second round, third round pick, whatever, you're going to have to beat that. If it's this could show my talents to the next level and really put me in that number one conversation.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I don't think he has any eligibility, to be honest. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to stay. But, if he had some injury, you know how like sometimes you can get approved after the fact.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's a possibility. I don't know if he had any type of injuries. It's just that, you're taking a guy that worked really hard to kind of get University of South Florida where they're at now, which they had an amazing win against Boise State, blew them out of the water out of nowhere. And then they beat up on Florida. You know what I mean? He was really building something there, right? And he leaves. That's going to be it's going to be interesting where they go as well. And there's some names that on another show. Oh, it looks like we lost Mystic. He'll be right back. I think there's on another show. There's some names that I think and here he is. Welcome back to the show, sir.
What happens when you hit the wrong button? Sorry.
No, it's all right. I think that there is some names out there that we can put for University of South Florida that could possibly be a guy that becomes the next head coach there. So we'll talk about that on another show. Let's go on to the next team. I'm starting to see stuff going on that Penn State has hired a new head coach as well. Have you heard about this? And let me pull up the gentleman's name. Rumors have come out that, well, I'm not sure if, the rumor is that Dayball is being tapped as one of the front runners, right? So it's been Dayball, but I saw something on my Twitter feed, which I have to confirm it yet or not. But the guy from TCU might be the next guy that takes over in Penn State. That's going to be interesting if he takes that position or not.
That would be pretty crazy for sure.
Everybody's like, Saban is saying they need to hire Dayball. That's what Saban is saying, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens there.
What I heard, Brian Daboll just took an advisory role with the Philadelphia Eagles for quarterback Jalen Hurts.
If he did, very interesting. Good for him. He might be the new, who knows? He might be the new offensive coordinator. That's how, I don't know if you know this, but Vic Fangio was the defensive consultant there, and then he became the defensive coordinator. So who knows? Maybe he eventually becomes the offensive coordinator. You know what I'm saying? I'm just joking about it, but still, it's kind of funny.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. Yep. Hold on one second here. Let me see who the other name was.
Mora is leaving UConn to go to Colorado State. So that's kind of an interesting move.
Yeah. Yep. Somebody was telling me that Penn State should hire Sonny Dykes, the guy from TCU. That's what someone I was talking to just telling me they should do. What do you think of that? Would it be a fit? No, not at all.
I don't really feel like TCU really jumps off the board of me right now. I mean, maybe that's maybe the resources they have in the organization. I'm not quite sure, but if you're not, doing the most with what you got there, how can we trust if we give you, a bigger portal pool, kind of like, it could be the same. It could be a James Franklin 2.0 situation.
Personally, I think Penn State needs to, how do I say this? I think Penn State needs to have a home run at head coach. And the reason I say that is if you saw the dominoes falling after Franklin got sacked, they lost a lot of recruits. People are flipping. Some are opening their recruiting back up and whatnot. And the Sharks are in the water, right? And you don't want to have to play catch up, especially when you have Ohio State, Oregon, and even Michigan now way too far ahead of you when it comes to the recruiting trail and whatnot. Not saying that Penn State has a recruiting problem. They didn't, but the issue remains when you lose a head coach like that, in that fashion, it hurts your program anytime you lose a head coach, to be honest. So that's kind of what I'm saying is like, I feel like Penn State needs to hurry up and get their home run, and get it going. Marshall Faulk took a head coaching job with an HBCU team. Shout out to Marshall Faulk, one of the best running backs ever.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. I'm really happy for him. And it's interesting. He was with Colorado, I believe, with Prime. He was with Coach Prime for a hot minute. So it'll be really interesting what he does there. I love seeing former players get the coaching gig and see how they succeed. You've seen quite a few of them recently, right? Eddie George is at Bowling Green State University, if you didn't know that. So yeah, and he's doing pretty good from what I saw. He looks like he had an okay season. And then you had God, what is his name? You had Michael Vick, who's a head coach now. Very small college, I want to say. And in that same conference, I want to say is another receiver that played for the Eagles, actually. I want to say he was with Tampa also for a hot minute. I can't think of his name. Damn, let me look that up. That's going to kill me. Who else got a new head coaching gig, Mystic? You tell me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was just doing a little bit of Marshall Faulk, research, and yeah, he's with obviously Deion Sanders and them, and he took the job at Southern University, HBCU school, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They actually got rid of their coach last month after a 1-6 start.
Mm-hmm.
They're just looking for a little more consistency. I definitely think that that's a good opportunity for Marshall Faulk after being, under Deion here.
Deshaun Jackson is who I'm thinking of. Deshaun Jackson is a head coach at Delaware State.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking of.
I'm pretty sure the two teams played each other or something.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Definitely, that was really cool.
I enjoy seeing things like that. To your point, I love seeing former players putting what they know into the younger generation, trying to coach them up, find the coaching opportunities and really give back to football in a different way. Like I really enjoy seeing things like that.
Definitely. I really do too. Shout out to the people in chat. I see Aquavision in there. The famous Buffalo fan, Michael K is in there as well. And also CCRR, who's mentioning Ball State.
Okay.
So yeah, shout out to you guys. Thank you for joining the show. But yeah, I'm gonna talk more about the coaching carousel because I feel there's quite a few more that we're gonna have to mention. LSU still has to hire somebody. Supposedly, I don't know if LSU is trying to get money out of the firing of Brian Kelly. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's going on. I don't know if they're going to give him his money or what. That'll be really interesting. But there's been talk about Lane Kiffin to LSU. They keep offering him a big time money to come there. And there's been talk in the media, specifically college football media, and college football playoffs. If Lane Kiffin takes the LSU job before the college football playoff starts, does that hurt Ole Miss at all?
I mean, yeah, if Lane's not there, I mean, are you going to get the same team? Probably not. Yeah, I hate to see coaches do those kinds of things. Like, you've led this Ole Miss team to this point. Like something crazy had to have happened internally for him to just all of a sudden want to turn his back on an organization middle of the season, into the season, getting ready to go into the playoffs and basically be like, later, like I'm out of here. That's pretty crazy to me. If this happens, this is definitely something that we'll have to do some more, discussions about because it's not something you see all the time.
Yeah, I think it's something we're going to have to revisit. I personally think it does hurt the program itself when you're looking at it as a program standpoint, because I really feel like the college football committee, when they're looking at everything, right? They're not just looking at your record or how bad you're beating up on a team. They're looking at who your head coach is. They're looking at your program, the presence your program brings to, the prestige that it brings to college football and its viewership, right? Let's be honest. As much as we call this a sport, it's a business. College football, professional sports, all of it. There's money involved, and it's a business. That's what it is, right? And they're here to show you some of the most exciting playoffs ever put together when it comes to college football. That's why they're so selective in the committee. I understand that. But that's also why I really feel college football would be so much better if they had qualifiers throughout the season that you have to play in. Like the NBA has the play-in tournament, right? Yeah, they have that, right? I kind of feel like they need something like that in college football if you're not the conference champion, right? If you're not the conference champion or the second runner-up, for the people that are on the outside, they need to have, I won that qualifier game. You know what I mean? We need some type of system like that. I feel that would make it a lot more fair across the board. And I also think with that, to take away advantages, I do like how the NCAA has changed to now they just have the one transfer portal, right? The one-time dates that you have.
Yep.
None of this, you can transfer in the winter, you can transfer in the spring, none of this winter, spring, and summer transfer window. You know what I mean? It's just the one dates that you have to decide by what you're going to do. I think that's good. And I think it's a little bit more fair across the board. But I do think that there needs to be also some rules on what allows you to transfer. Like, for example, if I sign to go play for University of South Florida, and I'm there for 1 week and I decide, you know what, there's one more day of the transfer portal left. Guess what? I'm going to rip up my contract and go sign somewhere else. I don't think that should be allowed. I think that they need to have some rules on how much or why you can transfer, personally, because I think if you think about it, these teams have invested time and money to, scout you, to bring you to the school, to pay for your tuition, any NIL deal that you have with them. They're spending time and money to do so. And I think in some cases, the schools need to be protected just a little bit. Not fully. I get it. It's a $1 billion industry. Everybody's making money. That's great. I don't want people to not make money. Don't get me wrong. I just think that there needs to be a fairer way about it. So it's fair to some of the smaller schools specifically. You know what I mean? Because, like, for example, let's say I recruited you and spent $20 million recruiting you. I'm just throwing that number. I don't know what the exact amount some of these schools spend, but let's just say I spent millions of dollars recruiting you and I had all these conversations with you and I got you to sign and everything. And then, come the first transfer window, you just, guess what? I got that offer from Ohio State. Finally, I'm going to Ohio State. Bye. You know what I mean? I think there needs to be like, okay, you have to be with your initial school for 2 years before you jump on the transfer window. You know what I'm saying? That there has to be some rules. What do you think about that?
I like that a lot. I think that's a great take. I think having a structure of a timeline, like setting a better timeline in the sense of kind of like you said, if you transfer, you have to use a minimum 2 years eligibility. And honestly, here's one. Cool. You want to transfer out early, you want to kick and scream. Guess what? You're still losing 2 years eligibility.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how you stop all this move from year to year to year to year. Like, quit teaching people that they need to flip flop to get good. Teach people they need to work on their craft to get good.
Yeah. Hey, and one coach we didn't talk about, speaking of transfers, because talking about the recruiting and stuff like that, it'll be very interesting of any of the Penn State pipeline or even players that are already currently there, if they follow suit with Coach Franklin over to Virginia Tech, because it's Franklin time over at Virginia Tech now, which we called that here on the Game Time Grind. We told everybody that he could very well go to Virginia Tech, and he was announced the new head coach of Virginia Tech. So he has that job now. So it will be very interesting if he can tap into that pipeline at all. And it'll also be very interesting how long it'll take for Virginia Tech to get that foundation put together to help build his team. So how quickly that happens. So what are your final thoughts on Franklin going to Virginia Tech? Any?
If I'm a Virginia Tech fan, I'm what's the word? Happily optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
Is a good phrase, I suppose you could say. They got some change. They got some change in the building. I don't think when you look at it, you should expect, national championships. Like we talked about, but expect over the next couple of seasons for Virginia Tech to get to some stability in there, really get an identity. And then you'll see them in some of these big games in the ACC, I do believe. I think they're going to be a thorn for people. You give it a season or two, and they're going to be a thorn in some people's sides.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. Granted, I know it's Penn State, and it's a bit much bigger program in a sense. Penn State, they had a really good recruiting system. They recruited in the same places that Ohio State or Michigan or Notre Dame did. You know what I mean? They recruit. He has his hands in those recruiting cycles, so that's why. Penn State always tend to recruit better than I thought their head coach was. If you understand, I was impressed that he was able to recruit as well as he did. So it'll be very interesting what happens with Virginia Tech. and how quickly they take off. So I'll keep my eye on that, because we know one thing is for sure. It hasn't so worked out in North Carolina with Bill Belichick, to be honest. I keep seeing every week, I kid you not, Mystic, news is coming out that, there's at least 3 or 4 teams are interested in Bill Belichick, or that Bill Belichick could be out before the season is over, or it's all hate on Bill Belichick in North Carolina. I feel bad for the guy. I really do, to be honest. I hate to say that, but he was our rival for forever. But still, I'm kind of like, I feel bad for the guy. So.
The thing is, like, I'm not convinced. Like some of these people out there that just want to say Bill's, he's done, he's washed, he's cooked. I'm not on that train.
Mm-hmm.
I see a guy who he's rebuilding it all. He is going back to the fundamentals. He is going back to like the roots of everything and what he brought to the New England Patriots, and he's looking to do that for North Carolina. Again, kind of with what I just said with Franklin, but to a more degree. I think when it's all said and done, I think we see North Carolina here in the next 2-3 years, probably knocking on the door. Well, they're the ones, making these playoffs. I think it's going to happen. I've already seen. I watched a couple games at the beginning of the season, and he had what? Was it 60-some, 70 some new faces on that team? Like, the amount of turnover in one season, you can't expect these guys to just all of a sudden just pick this stuff up and be ready game one. They have been developing through the course of this season, and I see more sound football now compared to the beginning sloppy football we got when first couple games. You're seeing what he's teaching. You're seeing the teachings come out on the field. So just give him a little bit more time. People want to go there. People want to go play for a Bill Belichick. That right there is everything. You're not trying to make a name for yourself. You already have a name for yourself. I'm the ticket to the NFL, basically. Come play for me. So I just, it's gonna happen, man. I unfortunately, I think North Carolina, they're gonna be where it all needs to be when it's all said and done. Just give it a couple seasons.
I also kind of think that, I think that unfortunately their fan base tried to peak too quickly. You know what I mean? And they put too much expectation on him. You think about it, he got hired in the middle of the recruiting, like right before the recruiting deadline. It was something like crazy. What did you expect him to do? It takes a while to build relationships with players and get your hands on. It's not like you're hired, then the next day you have a recruiting pipeline going on. No, that's not how it works. It's not built overnight like that. You know what I mean? It takes time. It takes molding. It takes, I would say at least a year or two to get that going. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, and you got to hire the right people in front of you too. I've never seen Bill Belichick have this type of a program where he had to be in charge of recruiting, or at least hire the right people. Does he even know the right people to hire for recruiting? That's another thing. So you have to give it at least 2 to 3 years to really see if it was a bust or not. That's my thoughts.
Agreed
on it. That being said, we're in the middle of rivalry week. Everybody wants to know what our thoughts on these big matchups. There's so many games this week. I figured we could start off with your favorite matchup that you want to talk about. And you know what that is. It's the matchup of the Midwest. Go ahead. You take it away, Mystic.
Man, shout out to George Kittle. It was just funny. You go into rivalry week, you got Iowa and Nebraska. I don't know. I think I heard something like Nebraska was trying to say they're the corn stakes or the corn huskers and all this, except for Iowa had like plus 40 corn yield than them or something. So I don't know what they're talking about. It's just one of those. It's one of those petty stats I heard. I thought it was hilarious. Also, to the George Kittle point, This man's over here trashing on Will Compton on prime time. He gets a chance after getting that dub in prime time and just lets Will Compton just have it, letting him know that Iowa's coming to town to take care of the Huskers, man. It's it's funny. I always grew up around that too, and the Iowa fans here, you like Nebraska, we don't like you. Like, it just instantly you're the enemy if you're a Nebraska fan in Iowa. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I know. And you even had I want to say the head coach in Nebraska was chirping and saying things already about Iowa. So Mystic must have pressed those wrong buttons. I'll tell you the right button to press right now. Make sure you hit the like button. I really appreciate it. We got 30 people watching. Go ahead and hit the like button. See, they know what button to hit. You unfortunately don't know, Mystic. I don't know what's going on.
I need to be on the computer here, so I try to get out of the comments. I was reading the comments. Shout out to John down there. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, man. And then BMCD13?
BMCD.
Yeah, he said West Virginia has the same record as North Carolina, and West Virginia fans are raving about the team under Rich Rodriguez. So little food for thought there.
The last time I heard about Rich Rodriguez, wasn't he the head coach of Michigan and he got his ass spanked so bad? That's the last time I heard that name, to be honest.
When you pack up, is that what you're saying?
Ohio State and Michigan. That I want to say, in fact, that game I think was a shellacking belt to ass style, if memory serves me right, in that Michigan Ohio State game. So, yeah, the fact that you guys brought up Rich Rodriguez, I'm sorry, I had to say it. Go ahead.
You're on that Rich Rodriguez pack. I get it. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, I noted because I was just doing some little, tidbits here and there. We were talking. I guess people were saying there's a possibility that Lincoln Riley might leave USC, and he come out and said 100% chance of not happening. He is happy staying at USC.
Okay. I completely agree. I definitely understand that's what he said, but we've seen people say
right
one thing and then do the other. Let's not joke and pretend that the GOAT of college football, who everybody says is Nick Saban, did that with the Miami Dolphins, saying, "No, I'm a Miami Dolphin head coach. I'm not going anywhere." And then the same day, he got on a plane and went to Alabama. I want to say it was the same day. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'll believe it once it's all said and done. Then I'll believe it.
I love it. So, where are you at? Where I know it's just you just want to jump out inside, and you're ready to scream through the TV. How you feeling this week, sir? You guys win this game. You got that number one locked up.
Oh, don't worry. We're gonna get to that game. We got some other rivalries I want to bring up first, though.
Too soon. Go ahead.
We got to build the suspense in the moment. All right. We got to get there. All right. We'll get there. So let's talk about some of the other rivalries. A big one, Georgia and Georgia Tech. This is going to be a big game. I know people are saying that Georgia has this in the bag. I want to say ESPN has them winning. The winning percentage that they win is 80 some percent. It's somewhere there 85 or 86%.
What's favored by?
Oh, who's favored? I want to say it's Georgia. They're saying Georgia by 13.5 points. That's the spread right now, 13.5.
Interesting.
I'll tell you what. The reason I don't know if Georgia's going to win or lose. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that this game could be interesting because Georgia Tech, every once in a while, decides to show up and put a shellacking on somebody that you didn't expect. Yeah. Right? And I've seen it, the last 2 or 3 years. Could this be the year where, they pull up some surprise win? You know what I'm saying?
Georgia Tech, man.
And right now, Georgia Tech is in a fight for that ACC also.
Sure are.
So do they want it more? That's going to be a big question because they got to, in fact, if I'm Miami, I'm hoping that Georgia beats the living socks off of them, to be honest.
100%. Miami fans are over here being big Georgia Tech fans. That's for sure.
No, they're going to be big Georgia fans, not Georgia Tech fans.
Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, Georgia fans. They want Georgia Tech to go down. That's what I'm saying. They're
Yeah.
hell.
I am kind of interesting about this QB matchup, though. You got Gunnar Stockton versus King, what's his name? What's Haynes King? I think it is. Yeah, Haynes King. That's who it is.
Yeah.
So both of them have thrown about 2,500 yards. Passing, and both. I want to say,
dude,
has more touchdowns. He has like 19 touchdowns. King has not thrown as many. He has about 12 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
The kid almost has 1,000 yards on the ground to go with 2,500 yards passing. The kid at Georgia Tech.
That's what I was about to say. Haynes King has 15 touchdowns running. 15.
That's crazy. Yeah, you got right there, bud.
So it will be very interesting what happens in that game. So shout out to Georgia and Georgia Tech fans. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I got Georgia winning by 10.
I think it's going to be Georgia in a 1-score game.
1-score game? I'll take that. Yeah, I think you're about right. Let's see here. I want to say this is an in-state battle, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're more familiar with this country. Indiana and Purdue.
Yes.
That's going to be interesting. Indiana, I think that they want to win out. They're going to do whatever they can just to keep doing what they're doing, right? I have them winning this, unfortunately. Purdue has some pieces. Don't get me wrong. They have some pieces. I just don't think they have the defense or the guy to really lead them, to be honest. So we'll see. What are your thoughts on that game?
I'm going to be real with you. Indiana should absolutely handle this game. Indiana has also showed a couple times this year where, like, if they don't come out and really put their best foot forward and they really let that opponent hang around, that's when you start to kind of see the flaws of Indiana's game. Well, I think Purdue finds a way to just muddy this game up, and you're going to have to. Mendoza is going to have to do some things, I think, late in this game to really put it away. And I think that's going to be. I think we're going to have a character game. It's going to be a character game from Indiana, in my opinion. I think they squeak out. Yeah, see, they got 28.5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking it's 14. I think it's a 2-score game. They end up squeaking it out with a 2-score.
I kind of think you're right. That's why I took 10 points, because that technically is a 2-score game. I want to say it's like anywhere between 10 and 14 points they'll win that game by. Yeah. So that being said, this next matchup we're going to talk about comes with some interesting thoughts of last week. Texas A&M going against Texas, another in-state battle. Texas A&M was getting a shellacking in the first half of that game last week, right? Everyone thought it was done, right? Even the police officer in the tunnel, that sheriff or whoever he was, that basically shouldered a couple of the South Carolina players. I thought he was being salty too. You know what I mean? I was like, this guy knows it's over. He's being salty. You know what I'm saying? They relieved that guy of his duties that day, by the way. I don't know if you know that. But for me, I kind of feel that Texas can give them possibly a run for their money. And I know that people are going to say, what are you talking about? Arch Manning is a pretender. He's not the guy that we thought he was, or Sark will find a way to screw it up or whatever. Let's take Sark out of it, right? And we just look at the talent that is on that roster. That roster that they've put together at Texas is one of the more expensive rosters in college football, right? Another Texas team, Texas Tech, supposedly has the most expensive roster in all of college football, but that's a conversation for another time. We're going to talk about Texas right now. If you look at that roster, outside of it being one of the most expensive ones, you look at the player talent that they have, right? The running backs, the offensive line, the wide receivers, the corners, the safeties, every position, they have very high talented 4-5-star recruits, right? They have a lot of guys that I really feel are on the cusp of being at an NFL level.
For sure.
Every once in a while this season, Sark has shown flashes of what he did the past 2 seasons and calling the game right. I feel if Arch Manning is the guy that everyone thinks he is, and he gets the game called right for him, Texas, I think, ends up winning this game in a shootout by 3 points. I'm giving them winning by 3.
I love it. I love it. You know, this is why we do the show together, because me and you really have such similar thought processes on things. Because, you know, we were all, you know, I don't want to say duped, but we were all brought into the moment of hype with Arch Manning. Okay,
Definitely.
And those first couple games were like, what are we watching? Like, is this guy even a quarterback? Like, holy moly! But then you see a couple passes where he'll fit it in between a corner and safety, or he'll just make a dart down the middle, and you're like, where the hell is that consistently?
Yep.
But what I've seen through the course of this season, and this is why I think I said this here, maybe the last week or the week before in a space, these last couple games, I've seen a different Arch Manning from the beginning of the season. Making plays, making some good throws, not missing terribly. Like, it's the progression through the season, I see him getting better. Does it need to come out? Heck no. No. Absolutely not.
No.
He needs to go next year, and he needs to go the year after that. Because if we've had this much progression, in my opinion, through this season, he's only going to get better. I think this is another legacy game. You have a chance to be the number 3 team and potentially throw yourself into that conversation to be a playoff team in your first year being the starting quarterback for Texas. I think they find a way to win. You're at home. You don't got to worry about the home crowd. It's you. It's your moment. You're not going to get thrown off. Go run your offense. A&M is the one going to have to worry about that crowd noise.
Oh yeah, yep. And you also look at it because they're playing at Texas, right? It's at Texas Stadium, right? The Texas Memorial, DKR Texas Memorial, I believe. This quarterback matchup is interesting. You got Reed versus Manning. If you look at their stats, they're almost exactly alike. I want to say Manning is like a couple yards more and 1 less interception. I think that's the difference. Maybe Reed has 1 extra touchdown or something like that.
Yep.
But I really feel like that's the difference in it with the right game call. And if you go back to the Ohio State game, for example, Ohio State versus Texas in that week 1 matchup, which was ridiculous. It should have been a night game, to be honest. And on top of it, I really feel like this was a matchup you want later in the season. You don't want it in the beginning. For both teams, to be honest. I really felt that Texas got control of the game later in the game when he was playing into Arch Manning's strengths.
Yep.
You know, quick play call, no huddle, speed option, run ball. You know, you already know what the call is. No waiting and overthinking it. You know what I mean? That was stuff that he was doing last season. He needs to do that in this game. I really feel if he does that, Texas could be. I'm putting Texas A&M on upset alert. I'm going to go ahead and say it. They are. I already said Texas could win by 3 points. I'm doubling down. Yeah, they're going to win by 1 score. Let it be 3 points to a touchdown. That's what's going to happen. Texas is winning. That's what I say. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. The next game I want to talk about, and we got two more we're going to talk about. Alabama versus Auburn.
Mm.
You know, who wants it more? You know, both these teams hate each other, right? It's an in-state rivalry. I get it. They hate each other. Supposedly, people in Alabama, from what I understand, it caused divorces, families not to talk to each other. That's what the rivalry brings, right? My question to you: which version of Ty Simpson are we going to see?
Ooh.
Are we going to see that? Wow, this guy could be one of the top quarterback taken, Ty Simpson, that we saw after the first week. Because remember, the first week he got his butt spanked by Florida State, right?
Yep.
But after that, he was good in and out every week until that Oklahoma game.
Yep.
Right. So my question is, which version of Ty Simpson are we going to see? Which version of Alabama are we going to see? And which version of Auburn are we going to see? Because Auburn's not been the greatest team this year.
I think
They're about a 500 team, to be honest. But when it comes to the Auburn game, just like some of the other rivalry, like another rivalry we'll talk about, players come to play and they play above their talent in these types of games, right? So that's why I'm wondering, which version do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen to this?
I think we see the Ty Simpson that takes care of business. I think if the Alabama team shows up, and I don't think this game is going to be the 6.5 close that they think it is. I think Alabama shows up, punches Auburn in the mouth, takes care of business, beats them by 14, and gets out with a nice win. I think it's not going to be nothing, too flashy, too crazy, but it's going to be the right amount of work put in to take care of a tough, rivalry game. Win by 10, it's on to the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I don't think Alabama, actually, they don't. Based on their current record, there's no way they survive. If they lose this game, they don't survive. The playoffs are done for
100%.
Alabama. So this game's more important to them. I think Alabama takes care of business comfortably.
Yep.
To be honest, maybe a two score difference.
Yep.
So that's my take. I just don't think they can screw around in these types of games, right?
I agree.
Like Texas and Texas A&M, neither team can screw around, to be honest. If you really think about it. So it's going to be really interesting what happens. The last big matchup, which obviously you know who we're going to talk about, Ohio State and Michigan.
Oh,
right?
my phone crashed. I'm just kidding.
Ohio State and Michigan, right? Yeah, the biggest rivalry in all the land, you could say. But that's been the argument this week on Twitter, on ESPN. I want to say Cam Newton had some things to say about it. People are saying the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry can't touch the Iron Bowl. What do you think? Like they're saying that it's not the same, with the Alabama and Auburn rivalry. Like they can't touch. They don't even touch the same grass, is what I was told.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not buying that. When you got look, Ohio State, there's some places that got some nice stadiums, this and that. Auburn, cool. Alabama, cool. They don't got the big house. All right. There ain't nothing like the big house.
The big house is big. They call it the big house for a reason. It holds more people than almost every college football stadium out there. In fact, it holds more people than most NFL stadiums, to be honest.
Atmosphere in itself, when Michigan packs that stadium, they're going to be packing the stadium for this game. In itself is that, what do they call it? The 12th man, if you will. Like that's absolutely a 12th man impact.
Have you been to the big house before?
Nope. but I know a couple people who have, and I've seen videos and pictures, and it just looks like a wild experience, man.
It is a wild experience. I have unfortunately been in that stadium 2 times. And yes, I am using unfortunately for real because I'm an Ohio State fan. But yeah, I've been to that several times. I've been to the shoe several times. At an Ohio State Michigan game, I would be afraid to be in that building because it's a concrete building and you see it jumping up and down. It's bending ways that it shouldn't bend, right? That's how many people are jumping up and down when it's at its loudest. Same thing goes for the shoots. It's not, I want to say it's like 10,000 people less, something like that. But it's still, when it's packed and loud, it's the loudest.
Yep.
But this rivalry pours out not just on the field, it pours outside the stadium and into the local communities and all throughout the state. Last year, for example, when Ohio State lost, you saw players fighting on the field, fighting in the tunnel, planting flags, one guy ripping the flag away from somebody and hitting other people with it. There's craziness happens, right? Fans flip cars over and start fires throughout the city, right? That's what happens. They almost have to get riot police out, right? That's basically what they have to do in this rivalry. If you're wondering where this rivalry stems from, just like the Iron Bowl, this rivalry stems way back in, I want to say, like 1896 or 1898 or something like that. It's over 100 years old. It literally is. And specifically for Ohio State and Michigan, there was the Ohio-Michigan War, or Cold War, if you want to call it that, because I want to say no one got hurt, but they almost literally had a war over a piece of land, which is where I was born. It's called Toledo, which is now part of Ohio. It's Northwest Toledo, or Northwest Ohio, I'm sorry. They fought over this property, and that's where the rivalry started. Ann Arbor is only like 40 minutes from Toledo, to give you an example, right? So in Toledo, there's a line. You're either blue or you're scarlet. And you're on one side or the other. And that culture is throughout the entire city and Northwest Ohio area, as well as throughout the state. It's Ohio, and just like through Michigan, it's all Michigan. They not only are competitive in college football, they're competitive in college basketball, hockey specifically. The people in politics fight each other against the Michigan politicians. They make dumb laws against each other when they have this rivalry going on. It gets crazy. I've seen bar fights, brawls. I've seen people get killed outside the stadium because of this game, right? I've seen people get divorced. And I've seen some of the most nastiest things you've ever seen anybody say on Twitter or on social media because of this game. So which is the bigger rivalry? Let's talk about the facts. I'll tell you what the facts are. Both rivalries are over 100 years old. Check. Okay. Both of them are. Both are a rivalry with a team that's very close to them. Ohio is neighbors to Michigan. You know what I mean? They're right next door. The Alabama and Auburn, it's in-state rivalry, right? So they're both very, very close to each other. Both teams and both fan bases hate each other to the max. I hate Michigan fans. Trust me, I don't get along with them. We call them scum. Literally, we call them scum. I'm not kidding. So then you have that. I have family members that are Michigan fans. I only talk to them at funerals. Not kidding. So no, I'm kidding just a tad bit. I'll say hi like during a holiday, like tomorrow. I'll say Happy Thanksgiving, but that's about it. So, to be fair, to be 100% fair. And then you look at the dumb laws that these politicians have put in place, like you're not allowed to plant flags on football fields or anymore or whatever, that kind of thing that they did last year. They both do it. Right. But I've seen Alabama. I can pull up laws that they've put in with that rivalry as well. What I said on the Twitter space today was that this rivalry, or the Iron Bowl, or the Ohio State Michigan game, the rivalry, or any rivalry, will be as big as you make it. You, as the fan, if you think it's the biggest rivalry in the world, you will make it be the biggest rivalry.
True.
No one can tell you it's bigger than the other. And you can't say that the Alabama and Auburn game is different, or it's special, or vice versa. And I can't say that about them. But what I can say is use facts when it comes to what we can verify. The Ohio State Michigan game does bring in about 3 million more viewers when it comes to viewership than the Iron Bowl. Right? That's a fact. You can go search that. Right? A lot of times, whoever wins this game, a lot of players from that team gets drafted, or both teams get drafted. Same thing with Auburn and Alabama. I give that to them as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is that more people tune in to watch that Ohio State Michigan game. More people know about that rivalry, and know how loud the big house or the shoe can get.
Yep.
Right? I think it's really up to the fan to decide that. No one else can tell you that your rivalry is not bigger than another. So that's where I'm going with it. I'm saying they both mean the most. They're both one of the largest rivalries in college sports. The Michigan-Ohio State one, in my opinion, this is my fan speaking, there's nothing that compares. When you look at college football, no, I'm sorry, not college football, college basketball, right? And shout out to the Blitz Pickup. If you guys don't know who they are, go check out the Blitz Pickup on YouTube. Lewis and Tony, they brought this up. You look at college basketball, what's the biggest rivalry you know of in college basketball? The biggest of the biggest. You know, these two teams hate each other more than anyone.
I feel like it's Duke. In my opinion, I think it's Duke in North Carolina.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Duke and North Carolina is the first people you think of when you think of the biggest rivalry in college basketball.
Yep.
When it comes to Ohio State and Michigan, a bigger part of the fan base, maybe not people that are Alabama and Auburn fans, a bigger part of college football fan base feel it's Ohio State and Michigan. It's up to them. But like I said, you make what your rivalry, you feel the rivalry is. If you think it's the biggest, then it's the biggest. If you think it's, it's in just another rivalry, then it's just another rivalry. Because why? You said so, and no one can change your mind. That's what I think. My opinion, Michigan sucks. Ohio State's finally going to win. No more of this 4-year bullshit that we've seen. I think Ohio State wins comfortably. I'm giving them at least 10 points. 10-point difference.
No.
I mean, our defense is better. Our quarterback is performing better right now, right? I know they got Bryce Underwood. I know he has a lot of hype behind him. He really hasn't shown it. He does need to be in the program another year to see what he's got. Their running back, I don't know if he's playing or not. I have to find that out. They may have a little bit better of a running back. I got the wide receiver room. I have the better tight ends. I have the better performing quarterback. I have the better coach. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I still think we win by anywhere between 7 to 10 points. That's what I'm saying.
I can see it.
Look, either it's going to be a close game or we're going to blow them out of the water. Take your pick.
I think you're supposed to have your people back, right? You're going to have your wide receivers and such, right?
Both are, from what has been announced today and what has been told and from many sources, and even himself, Jeremiah Smith is 100% to go, as well as Carnell Tate is as well.
So I think 10, 14 points makes sense. If you don't have those guys, I think you're going to find it be one of those walk-off field goal games. But no, if you got your pieces back offensively, Ohio State should go in and handle it. Is it going to be a tough game? Absolutely. Do I think Michigan puts up a fight in the first half? Absolutely. I think worst case scenario, and we haven't had a chance to talk much about it. I feel like Ohio State has had a slow start last week, but that was obviously without their wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
They can't have that. If they have that slow start, I think it's a dogfight. If they come out, take care of business, establish, get that, run game, pass game, just get their offense flowing. I think it's just going to be like we talked about, 10, 14 points, another day on the field.
Look, last game, we should have won that game. We decided to stick to the game plan rather than just exposing their weakness, which was throwing it on the outside. They couldn't stop the outside at all.
Wow.
We kept going the inside every time. And we should have thrown it to Jeremiah Smith, to be honest. And he knew it. Everyone else knew it. But we decided to shoot ourselves in the foot with it. Right? But ultimately, I can't hate what happened last season because it literally ignited what my team needed to go on that historical run all the way to the natty, to be honest. So I can't hate on it. But what I can say is that I do think that we do need to start fast. But to be fair, if you really look at what has happened over the last couple games, the first drive, Julian Sayin is on it. He actually drove Ohio State all the way to the goal line. But I can't remember what happened in that Rutgers games because that Rutgers game didn't really matter to me. But I want to say like it was they were able to get him. If somebody made a mistake and they ended up getting to him on 4th down and they turned the ball over in the red zone, right? But he gets down there quick. This is a game that you're going to test your patience when it comes to, do you take the points or do you risk it all? Right. Yeah. If I'm Michigan, I'm risking it all because I either wreck Ohio State's day. I got nothing to really play for behind it. They're probably already bowl eligible, to be honest.
Yep.
Right. So for me, if I'm Ohio State, I got everything to lose. Do you take the points? Do you go on 4th down? Those are questions. But I don't think that Michigan has anyone that can really stop Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate at the same time.
Yep.
Right. And there's something that Ohio State hasn't had in a long time that I think is almost like a cheat code, if you want to call it that, or a disadvantage to most teams. Ohio State has 3 tight ends that are amazing, that any combination of them or any one of them could be the starter. That's how good they are. They have a Jelani Thurman. They have Max Clare, for example. They have like 2 or 3 other guys that I'm like, where did these guys come from? It's like, holy shit. And they're good. They have great hands. They have speed. They block, right?
What you want.
Yeah. And the fact that they have 2 or 3 of them that they can go to at any point, and plus you have 2 amazing receivers, let alone the 3rd best receiver on the depth chart, Brandon Inniss, in my opinion, is the most underrated receiver that's in that room. He's a 5-star recruit that has amazing off-the-ball abilities, let alone even when he does get the ball, he has great hands and speed, right? So it's like you have all this advantage. Use it. Goddamn Ryan Day for listening. Bring it. Bring everything that you have. Do whatever it takes. Tell everybody that. All right? That's what I want. I want this win. I want to get it over with.
Think at him. Come on. Oh.
Yeah. But, it's funny because I have all the trolls and haters, chirping at me in the Twitter spaces and on Twitter and social media. And I get private text messages and, yeah, another year we get to sit back and drink beer and watch Ohio State lose. Where were all these people? Hold on, let me get this off real quick. Where were all these people when Michigan couldn't win for 8 straight years? It should have actually been 9 straight years they couldn't win against Ohio State if it wasn't for COVID that saved them and canceled the season, right? Let's not forget that. And on top of it, the last time that you won before these 4 straight that you've won, the last time, right? Do you want to know what the streak was before that? It was another 7 games, right? That means in however many, 15, 4, 5, in 21 years, you have only won 5 times.
Yep.
That is nuts. But Ohio State losing 4 times in a row is such a big deal. See what I'm saying? It does. The math doesn't add. That's why I'm like, you guys are acting like you've never seen this before. What happened when we were winning 7 years straight or 8 years straight? It just doesn't make sense. I don't know.
It's so funny you say that like that because.
No, it's so funny. Go ahead.
Rivalry that I think of that reminds me of Ohio State and Michigan. Unfortunately, they play it way early in the season, week 3 or 4. But it's the Iowa State thing. Like those, you're literally split. You either like the yellow and black or it's the gold and red. And if you're on one side, you're not a part of the other side. And it's so funny how you say, the whole dominating in senses. Iowa State literally went on, I think, like 7. It was like, no, more than that. It was like 10 years. It's been over 10 years. This year was the first time they had won in Ames, the rivalry game, since like 2016. Like, Iowa they pretty much owned the Cyclone.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that's why I laughed when you said that, because I was like, man, that reminds me of something else.
That's funny. That is funny. Another coaching report I just saw on Twitter, the guy from North Texas took the Oklahoma State job. So that was something we missed from earlier. Look, we're off to the bottom line, and everyone, make sure you hit the like button, right? Subscribe if you're brand new. This has been a lot of fun, Mystic, wouldn't you say?
Heck yeah, man. It's been a good time.
Yeah, definitely. We've had over 30 some people watching across the board on TFTG, the Fins Tailgate, also on 4th and 10 on Twitter, Twitch, you name it. We've had a lot of people watching, including Kick. So yeah, come over on the YouTube side, subscribe to our channel. 4th and 10U, you'll find us here and live on TFTG. Follow Mystic and myself. It's gonna be nuts. Put in the comments below after this show. Put in the comments. Do you agree with our takes when it comes to the wins and the losses that we may see this weekend? What are your thoughts? And if there's a team you want us to talk about, let us know. We'll definitely talk about them. Mystic, any final words for everybody?
Yeah, I think, again, we appreciate y'all taking the time before, the holiday out here, to spend some time with us tonight. This is definitely something that, we've been enjoying doing, we enjoyed doing, and we really enjoy putting this on for you guys, talking college. And I think next time come around, we're gonna get a chance to talk some Heisman hopefuls here, and we'll probably get that close to when we get to the playoffs and stuff as well. So just keep an eye on, like you said, like, subscribe, hit that notification. We appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. You guys have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your holiday.
Definitely. Everyone have a happy Thanksgiving and be safe. Don't drink and drive. It's not worth it at all. Use, Lyft, Uber, you name it. Call a taxi, call a friend. It's just not worth it. But anyway, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the holidays.